Pay attention to the woman in the gray jacket entering the convenience store. Her name is Monica Harris. She's 32 years old, a single mother of 2 girls, ages 7 and 4. It's 8:47 p.m. on October 12th, and she's stopping for milk and cereal on her way home from her shift at the medical billing company where she works as a supervisor. Her daughters are with her mother tonight. Monica planned to pick them up by 9:30, help them brush their teeth, and read them a story before bed. Now watch the man who enters exactly 90 seconds after her. His name is Samuel Okonkwo. He's 29 years old, a recent immigrant from Nigeria who works at a meatpacking plant 15 miles outside Columbus, Ohio. He lives alone in a basement apartment 3 blocks from this store. Within 12 minutes, Monica Harris would be gone. Within 6 hours, her phone would be turned off forever. Within 3 days, investigators would uncover a crime that stretched back 18 months and crossed 3 counties. This was not a random encounter. It was the culmination of weeks of careful planning. The Speedy Mart on Glendale Avenue sits at the corner of a residential neighborhood in East Columbus. It's well lit, open 24 hours, with functioning security cameras covering every angle. The store sees steady traffic, shift workers, students, neighbors buying lottery tickets and energy drinks. It should have been one of the safest places Monica could stop. The timestamp on the surveillance footage reads 8:47:23 p.m. Monica enters through the glass front door. She's wearing her work clothes, gray blazer, black pants, comfortable flats. Her purse hangs from her left shoulder. She moves directly to the dairy section at the back of the store, selects a gallon of milk, then walks to the cereal aisle. She picks up a box of Cheerios, her youngest daughter's favorite. The entire sequence takes 4 minutes. At 8:48:51 p.m., Samuel Okonkwo enters. He wears a dark blue hoodie, jeans, and work boots. He doesn't browse. He walks directly to the counter, where the clerk, a 19-year-old college student named Tyler Chen, stands behind the register. Okonquo purchases a pack of cigarettes. He pays in cash. The transaction takes 45 seconds. He does not leave. Instead, Okonquo moves to the magazine rack near the front window. He appears to be reading, but his position gives him a clear view of the entire store, of Monica Harris selecting items, of the clerk restocking candy bars, of the empty parking lot outside. At 8:52:16 p.m., Monica approaches the counter. She places the milk and cereal on the counter. She pulls her wallet from her purse. Tyler Chen rings up the items, $7.34. Monica uses her debit card. The transaction is approved at 8:52:41 p.m. This is where the surveillance footage becomes critical. Monica picks up her bag. She turns toward the door. Okonquo closes the magazine he was holding. He follows her, out. At 8:53:02 p.m., both Monica Harris and Samuel Okonkwo exit the Speedy Mart. The parking lot camera captures Monica walking toward her vehicle, a silver 2016 Honda Civic parked under a streetlight. She opens the driver's side door. She places the grocery bag on the passenger seat. At 8:53:28 p.m., Okonquo reaches her vehicle. What happens next occurs in less than 10 seconds. Okonquo approaches from behind. Monica turns. There appears to be a brief exchange. Then Okonquo moves quickly. His hand goes to his jacket pocket. Monica steps backward. Her keys fall. Okonquo moves into her space, his body blocking the camera's view. At 8:53:39 p.m., both figures enter the Honda Civic. Okonquo is in the driver's seat. Monica is in the passenger seat. Her posture suggests she's sitting rigidly, pressed against the door. At 8:53:52 p.m., the Honda Civic exits the parking lot, turning west on Glendale Avenue. It was the last time any camera would record Monica Harris. Monica's mother, Patricia Harris, called her daughter's phone at 9:18 p.m. No answer. She tried again at 9:25 p.m. The call went directly to voicemail. Patricia was not yet worried. Monica's shift sometimes ran late. The drive from the office to Patricia's house took 20 minutes in light traffic, but Monica was never this late without calling. At 9:47 p.m., Patricia called Monica's supervisor. Monica had left work on time. 6:45 p.m. Her supervisor confirmed Monica mentioned stopping for groceries on the way to pick up her daughters. Patricia Harris called 911 at 10:03 p.m. The Columbus Police Department initially classified the case as a delayed arrival, not yet a missing person. Monica was an adult. She'd been gone less than 2 hours. Protocol required a longer time frame before formal investigation. Patricia Harris was insistent. Her daughter was reliable. Monica never went anywhere without her phone. She would never leave her children waiting. Something was wrong. The responding officer took the report. He noted the details: Monica's vehicle description, her last known location, her phone number. He assured Patricia that most missing adult cases resolved within 24 hours. By midnight, Monica Harris had not returned. By 3:00 a.m., her phone remained off. By sunrise on October 13th, her silver Honda Civic had not been located. The case was escalated. Detective Carla Bennett caught the case at 8:00 a.m. on October 13th. She was a 12-year veteran of the Columbus Police Department, experienced in missing persons investigations. She reviewed the initial report, spoke with Patricia Harris, and immediately requested surveillance footage from Monica's known route home. The Speedy Mart footage arrived at 10:15 a.m. Bennett watched the sequence 3 times. Monica entering alone, Okonquo entering 90 seconds later, the cigarette purchase, the magazine reading, the parallel exit, the parking lot encounter, the forced entry into the vehicle, the departure. This was not a woman who left voluntarily. This was an abduction. At 10:47 a.m., Detective Bennett issued a BOLO, be on the lookout, for Monica's Honda Civic. She contacted the Ohio State Highway Patrol. She requested cell tower data for Monica's phone. She obtained a warrant for Monica's financial records to track any card usage. The credit and debit cards showed no activity after the Speedy Mart purchase. The cell phone data revealed Monica's phone had last pinged a tower on the west side of Columbus at 9:04 p.m., consistent with the direction the Honda was traveling. The phone went dark at 9:06 p.m. Either the battery died or someone turned it off. Bennett focused on the parking lot footage. She isolated frames of Samuel Okonkwo's face. The image quality was good, clear enough for facial recognition. She ran the stills through the Ohio BMV database and the National Crime Information Center. At 2:33 p.m., she got a hit. Samuel Okonkwo, age 29, Nigerian national with permanent resident status. Current address, 847 West 5th Avenue, Apartment B, Columbus, Ohio. No prior arrests, no criminal record. He had a valid Ohio driver's license, registered to a 2009 Toyota Camry. Bennett pulled Okonkwo's employment records. He worked at Buckeye Meatpacking in Grove City, third shift, 10 p.m. to 6:00 a.m. He had worked there for 14 months. His supervisor described him as quiet, reliable, never missed a shift. At 3:15 p.m. on October 13th, Detective Bennett and 4 uniformed officers arrived at 847 West 5th Avenue. The building was a converted Victorian house, divided into 4 rental units. Apartment B was in the basement, accessible through an exterior door on the side of the house. Bennett knocked. No response. She knocked again, announced herself as Columbus Police. The landlord arrived with keys. The apartment was small, a studio with a kitchenette, bathroom, and single main room. The space was neat, almost empty. A mattress on the floor, a small table, 2 folding chairs, no television, no personal items visible. The closet contained work uniforms and a few changes of clothing. The bathroom held basic toiletries. The refrigerator contained milk, bread, lunch meat, and energy drinks. Nothing suggested violence or criminal activity. Then Detective Bennett opened the desk drawer. Inside was a spiral notebook. The pages contained handwritten entries, dates, times, locations. Bennett recognized the format immediately. They were surveillance logs. The entries dated back 18 months. They documented women, descriptions, routines, where they worked, where they lived, what time they left their homes, what stores they visited, what vehicles they drove. One entry stood out. Monica H., medical billing supervisor, silver Honda Civic, license KPL 8834, 2 daughters, lives alone, mother on Eastwood Drive, Stops at Speedy Mart, Glendale, most Thursdays after work, usually between 8:30 and 9 o'clock p.m. Parking lot poorly monitored. Good opportunity. The last. Entry was dated October 11th, one day before Monica's abduction. Bennett requested a full forensic team. She obtained a warrant for Okonquo's vehicle. She issued an arrest warrant for kidnapping. At 4:22 p.m., officers located Okonquo's Toyota Camry, parked 3 blocks from the apartment. The vehicle was locked and empty. Forensic technicians transported it to the police garage. Samuel Okonkwo did not return to his apartment. He did not report to his shift at Buckeye Meatpacking. His cell phone was turned off. The search for both Monica Harris and Samuel Okonkwo intensified. The forensic team processed Okonkwo's apartment through the night of October 13th. They seized his laptop, his cell phone, and all paper documents. They photographed every surface. They collected DNA samples, fingerprints, and trace evidence. The laptop contained browser history that painted a disturbing picture. Okonquo had researched abduction techniques, restraint methods, remote locations in Ohio. He'd visited forums where predators discussed hunting strategies. He'd bookmarked articles about police investigation procedures and evidence disposal. The search history included specific queries: how long before missing person investigation starts, cell phone tracking methods, rural abandoned buildings, Franklin County. His email account revealed he'd been communicating with himself using multiple addresses, a technique to store information without raising red flags on social media or cloud services. The emails contained more surveillance notes, more detailed observations of women around Columbus. Monica Harris was not the only target. She was one of 17. The notebook and digital records documented women across Franklin, Delaware, and Licking counties. Most were in their late 20s to mid-30s. Most were mothers. Most lived alone or were single parents. All followed predictable routines. Detective Bennett cross-referenced the names and descriptions against missing persons reports in Ohio. At 11:47 p.m. on October 13th, she found a match. Teresa Martinez, age 28, had been reported missing from Delaware, Ohio, on March 8th, 7 months earlier. Martinez was a nurse, divorced, mother of 1. She disappeared after leaving her shift at Riverside Methodist Hospital. Her vehicle was found abandoned in a grocery store parking lot. No suspects, no leads. The case had gone cold. Bennett pulled Martinez's case file. The grocery store was 15 miles north of Columbus. Martinez had been shopping alone. Evening shift. Predictable schedule. The pattern matched. Bennett contacted the Delaware County Sheriff's Office at 6 o'clock a.m. on October 14th. She requested a joint task force. She shared the surveillance logs. Within 2 hours, investigators from 3 counties were coordinating efforts. The hunt was no longer for one missing woman. It was for a serial predator. Every law enforcement agency in central Ohio joined the search. Columbus Police, Franklin County Sheriff, Delaware County Sheriff, Licking County Sheriff, Ohio State Highway Patrol, FBI field agents from the Columbus office. They focused on the rural locations from Okonquo's search history. Abandoned farms, foreclosed properties, industrial buildings slated for demolition. The digital records suggested Okonquo had scouted over 40 locations across 3 counties. Search teams divided the territory. K-9 units deployed. Helicopters with thermal imaging covered the most remote areas. On October 15th, a team searched an abandoned dairy farm in northern Franklin County. The main house had burned down years earlier. Only the barn and a concrete block outbuilding remained. The property was overgrown, accessed by a washed-out gravel road. The outbuilding door was padlocked. Bolt cutters opened it. Inside was a makeshift cell, a windowless room with a mattress, chemical toilet, and chains bolted to the concrete floor. Evidence of recent occupation: food wrappers, empty water bottles, a woman's jacket. DNA testing would later confirm the jacket belonged to Teresa Martinez. But Teresa Martinez was not there. Neither was Monica Harris. The search teams expanded. They processed the dairy farm for evidence. They identified fingerprints and biological samples. Everything matched Samuel Okonkwo. Where was he? Where were his victims? At 3:17 p.m. on October 16th, a traffic camera in Westerville, Ohio, captured an image of Monica Harris's silver Honda Civic. The vehicle was traveling north on State Route 3. A single occupant visible, male, matching Okonquo's description. State troopers flooded the area. The Honda was spotted again at 4:02 p.m., pulling into a gas station outside Sunbury, Ohio, a small town 30 miles northeast of Columbus. 6 patrol units converged on the station. The Honda was parked at pump number 3. Samuel Okonkwo was inside the convenience store, paying for gas. Officers surrounded the building. Okonkwo exited the store at 4:08 p.m. He saw the police vehicles. He ran. He made it 15 feet before officers tackled him. He offered no resistance after that. He was placed under arrest at 4:09 p.m. Okonquo said nothing. He asked for a lawyer. Officers searched the Honda Civic. Monica Harris was not inside. The grocery bag from the Speedy Mart sat on the passenger seat. Milk spoiled, cereal box water damaged. Monica's purse was wedged under the seat. Her phone was in the purse, battery dead. Detective Bennett arrived at the scene at 5:30 p.m. She personally questioned Okonquo. He stared at the wall. He did not respond to any questions. He did not acknowledge Monica Harris's name. He did not react to mentions of Teresa Martinez or the dairy farm. The interrogation lasted 3 hours. Okonquo said 6 words total: "I want to speak to lawyer." At 8:45 p.m., Bennett terminated the interview. Okonquo was transported to Franklin County Jail, charged with kidnapping, unlawful restraint, and possession of materials used in commission of a felony. Additional charges would follow pending investigation. But Monica Harris and Teresa Martinez remained missing. The investigation became a race against deteriorating evidence and diminishing hope. If Monica Harris and Teresa Martinez were alive, they were hidden somewhere without food, water, or medical attention. If they were deceased, investigators needed to locate the remains and secure evidence. The forensic team processed every item from Okonquo's apartment, his vehicle, and the dairy farm. They analyzed his phone records. They interviewed his coworkers. They contacted his family in Nigeria. Okonquo had immigrated to the United States 6 years earlier. He had attended community college for 2 semesters before dropping out. He had worked a series of warehouse and factory jobs. Coworkers described him as polite but distant. He never socialized. He never discussed his personal life. His supervisor at Buckeye Meatpacking noticed one detail. Okonquo often requested specific shift swaps, always trading early evening shifts for overnight shifts. The pattern began about 18 months ago. 18 months, the same time frame as the surveillance logs. Investigators re-examined Okonquo's digital footprint. They found archived emails referencing a storage unit. The facility was in Grove City, near the meatpacking plant. Unit number 237, rented under a false name, but paid for with a prepaid debit card traceable to Okonquo. At 6:00 a.m. on October 17th, officers arrived at the Grove City storage facility with a warrant. Unit 237 was a 10x10 metal room. Bolt cutters opened the lock. Inside were supplies, bottled water, canned food, medical supplies, rope, tarps, a shovel, cleaning chemicals, everything someone would need to restrain, transport, and conceal evidence of violent crimes. But no victims, no bodies. The storage unit was processed as a crime scene. DNA evidence recovered matched both Teresa Martinez and Monica Harris. Hair samples, blood traces, fingerprints on the water bottles. This confirmed they had both been held here. But where were they now? Samuel Okonkwo remained silent through 2 more days of interrogation. He answered no questions. He provided no information. His court-appointed attorney advised him to maintain silence. On October 19th, the prosecutor's office made a decision. They needed the victims' locations. They needed closure for the families. They needed to prevent Okonkwo from ever harming anyone again. They authorized a plea negotiation. Through his attorney, Okonkwo was offered a deal. Life imprisonment without parole instead of the death penalty. In exchange, he would provide the locations of Monica Harris and Teresa Martinez. The offer was firm. 1 chance. Full disclosure. Okonkwo's attorney requested 2 hours to consult with his client. At 4:30 p.m. on October 19th, Samuel Okonkwo agreed to the deal. He drew a map. He provided written directions. He answered specific questions about locations and conditions. What he revealed was worse than investigators feared. At 6:15 a.m. on October 20th, search teams deployed to the locations Okonkwo identified. 2 separate sites, both in Licking County, both remote wooded areas off county roads with no nearby structures. The first team reached the location at 7:42 a.m. The coordinates led to a ravine overgrown with brush. Cadaver dogs alerted immediately. They found Teresa Martinez at 8:03 a.m. She had been deceased for approximately 6 months. The medical examiner would later determine cause of death was dehydration and exposure. She had been restrained in a shallow trench covered with plywood and debris. She had survived for days, possibly weeks, before dying. The second team reached their location at 8:17 a.m. The site was a collapsed hunting cabin deep in state forest land. The structure had partially fallen in on itself. K-9 units alerted to ascent. They found Monica Harris at 8:34 a.m. She was alive. Barely. Monica was inside the cabin's root cellar, a 4-foot deep pit accessible through a trapdoor. She was unconscious, severely dehydrated. Her wrists and ankles showed evidence of restraint injuries. She had been without food or water for days. Emergency medical personnel transported her by helicopter to Riverside Methodist Hospital. She was admitted to intensive care at 9:12 a.m. on October 20th. Samuel Okonkwo was indicted on November 3rd on 27 counts. 2 counts of kidnapping, 1 count of murder in the death of Teresa Martinez, attempted murder in the case of Monica Harris, unlawful restraint, possession of criminal tools, and multiple counts related to the surveillance and stalking of 15 other women who had not been physically harmed. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence: the surveillance logs, the digital records, the forensic evidence from the apartment, storage unit, and crime scenes, the GPS data from Okonkwo's vehicle, the testimony of law enforcement. Monica Harris testified on February 14th. She described being forced into her own vehicle at gunpoint, being driven to the storage unit, being restrained and held for 3 days, being transported again, blindfolded, to the cabin, being left in the root cellar, hearing Okonquo above her, then hearing nothing. Days of darkness, the certainty she would die. The defense argued diminished capacity. Okonkwo's attorney presented evidence of childhood trauma in Nigeria, cultural dislocation, untreated mental illness, social isolation. The prosecution acknowledged these factors while emphasizing the calculated nature of the crimes, the 18 months of planning, the surveillance of 17 women, the preparation of multiple sites, the systematic execution. ADA. Michelle Warren was direct. Trauma may explain behavior. It does not justify it. The jury deliberated for 8 hours. On March 3rd, Samuel Okonkwo was found guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to life without parole for the murder of Teresa Martinez, life without parole for the kidnapping and attempted murder of Monica Harris, additional consecutive sentences totaling 140 years for the remaining counts. He will never leave prison. Monica Harris spent 3 weeks in the hospital. She suffered kidney damage from dehydration, nerve damage from the restraints, and severe psychological trauma. She required physical therapy to regain full mobility in her wrists and ankles. She could not immediately return to her daughters. The physical and psychological recovery required time. Patricia Harris cared for the girls while Monica received treatment, first medical, then psychiatric. Monica returned home on November 8th, 19 days after her abduction. Her daughters were waiting. The reunion was private. Monica requested no media coverage, no interviews, no public statements. She did not return to work at the medical billing company. She could not drive past the Speedy Mart. She could not be in enclosed spaces alone. Teresa Martinez's family received closure, but no justice that felt adequate. Teresa had been a devoted mother. Her son was 6 years old when she disappeared. He was 7 when they found her body. The memorial service was held on November 2nd. Over 200 people attended. The 17 other women whose names appeared in Okonkwo's surveillance logs were contacted by police. All were offered protection and counseling services. None had been physically harmed, but the knowledge they had been targeted, watched, documented, the violation of privacy and safety left lasting impact. Columbus Police Department implemented new protocols, enhanced surveillance of store parking lots, faster response times for missing persons reports involving adults, public awareness campaigns about safety in seemingly secure locations. Patricia Harris became an advocate. She pushed for legislation requiring surveillance systems in all commercial parking areas. She lobbied for expedited missing persons investigations when circumstances suggested danger. She testified before the state legislature. On August 15th, Ohio governor signed Monica's Law, requiring 24-hour emergency response protocols for missing persons cases when evidence suggests foul play, regardless of the missing person's age or time elapsed. The Speedy Mart on Glendale Avenue still operates. The parking lot has new lighting, additional security cameras, a police substation open 2 blocks away. Monica Harris has never returned. She cannot. She lives now with her daughters and her mother in a different neighborhood. She works from home doing medical billing remotely. She does not drive at night. She does not shop alone. The silver Honda Civic was released from evidence in June. Monica could not bear to see it. The vehicle was sold. Her daughters are 9 and 6 now. They know their mother was hurt. They know she survived something terrible. They do not know all the details. Someday, when they are older, Monica will tell them. For now, she focuses on the small victories, sleeping through the night, leaving the house during daylight, letting her daughters go to school without overwhelming fear. Therapy continues. The trauma is not something that ends. It is something that must be managed day by day. Teresa Martinez's son is 10. He lives with his maternal grandparents. He struggles with abandonment issues and anxiety. He receives counseling. He keeps his mother's nursing badge in a frame beside his bed. Samuel Okonkwo sits in Ohio State Penitentiary. He has filed no appeals. He has made no statements. He receives no visitors. Investigators never determined what triggered his escalation from surveillance to action. What made him choose Monica Harris that specific night? What made him select Teresa Martinez 7 months earlier? Some questions have no answers. On October 12th of every year, Patricia Harris visits a bench in a small park near her home. She sits there at 8:47 p.m., the exact moment Monica entered the Speedy Mart 5 years ago. She sits for 13 minutes, the length of time from Monica's entry to her abduction. She does not pray. She does not cry. She simply sits. Monica sometimes joins her. Sometimes she cannot. The weight of that specific timestamp, 8:47 p.m., remains almost unbearable. But she survived. Teresa Martinez did not. That reality defines everything that follows. The guilt of survival, the gratitude for life, the obligation to honor the one who did not come home. Monica's daughters do not know the significance of October 12th. Not yet. They will, someday. For now, they know only that their mother holds them tighter on that day, kisses them longer at bedtime, checks their windows twice before turning out the lights. The therapy continues. The healing continues. The living continues. Monica Harris walked into a corner store for milk and cereal. She nearly never walked out. But she did. That's what matters most.